What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here. And we might want to strap in because this is going to be a long one. This video is here to talk the objective truth about Mortal Kombat 11 versus Mortal Kombat 1. Ever since Mortal Kombat 1 released its very first trailer and images out to the public, the comparisons between it and its predecessor MK11 have always been out, and the narrative has changed quite a bit. You know, there were people that initially complained that Mortal Kombat 1 was Mortal Kombat 11, just re-released all over again, even though that couldn't be further from the truth. And as we learned more about the gameplay mechanics and the cameo system and the return of many previous mechanics like segmented meter, breakers, and things like that, you know, the comparisons and the narrative around the comparisons have shifted dramatically. And honestly, it's very rare for me to encounter any objectively true statements about the two games in comparison with each other. What I often find is people demonize one in order to elevate the other. And frankly, I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of that bullshit right there. You know what I'm saying? So this video is going to be an exhaustive list of the pros and cons of both games, along with historical context about how various aspects of the game were received at the time that we interacted with them. All right. And so, like I said, this is going to be probably a lengthier video, so you're going to need to grab you some popcorn, some Kool-Aid, or whatever your leisure snack and drink is of choice. And let's talk about these games. So here we have Mortal Kombat 11. And of course, at the time, this game was not known as Mortal Kombat 11. It was, or not Ultimate anyway. Now it's known as Mortal Kombat Ultimate, but before it was just MK11. Hold on a second. Let me get my bearings back straight with my controls. What's going on here? Oh, maybe I have to be in PC mode. Sorry about this, you guys. Having a little bit of technical difficulties. There I go. All right. So, Mortal Kombat 11 released a while ago. I want to say it was 2019. I could be wrong, but I don't know. But I want to go through every single mode of this game and talk about its pros and its cons. So, the TLDR is this about MK11 in comparison to Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 11 is the much more complete game in terms of the amount of content that it brought from day one and the quality of the content brought from day one. The modes were fully there. The online and the net code and the quality of the net code were superb. And this game had a lot to offer players who wanted to play both offline and online. So let's start with Conquer. Obviously, we have a full-fledged story mode. Now, just really quickly, the story mode of MK11 compared to MK1 is relatively trash. Oh, girl right here. This lady, incompetent. The most incompetent, non-imposing Mortal Kombat boss we've ever seen. Okay? She was very polite. I don't even think she was evil. We saw Raiden be more of an asshole and more heelish than we saw her being. She didn't kill nobody. She didn't even raise her voice. She didn't threaten anybody, barely. She was just kind and polite. And why was she the bad guy? Because she wanted to get rid of somebody that we're supposed to like, Raiden. And why did she want to get rid of someone that we were supposed to like, Raiden? Because he fucked up her timeline. He fucked up her perfect balance. That's why. That's a piss poor motivation for someone to be a bad guy. And she failed spectacularly. She had probably the most important advantage a boss has ever had. The ability to manipulate time and go back in time. And she could have used that to cripple Raiden and his allies, and she never did. She barely did. She even had a chance to kill Liu Kang and Kung Lao right then and right there in the Jinsei chamber, and Geras could have did it. And Geras even sat there and said, they're too dangerous to be kept alive. And she's like, no, but we need them. Stupid. But this game did offer a DLC story, which was the first of its kind. And in Aftermath, we actually got a competent final boss in Shang Tsung. He's much more threatening and much more diabolical and evil than she could have ever hoped to be. Okay? And, yeah, he looked far more competent than she could have ever been. But that's the story. Towers of Time, let's talk about those. So yeah, if you want to just play and get costumes and things like that, you could just play Towers of Time. And you had co-op towers, you had character towers over here. You got heroic towers. I don't know what the fuck those are, honestly. Premier towers, you know, you have all kinds of stuff there. Of course, you have your classic towers, you know, arcade, you know, novice, warrior, champion, endless tower, survivor, you know. Love this, by the way. Then you have the crypt. The crypt is objectively better than invasions in MK1. I mean, we got to run around, and if you played on PC like I'm doing, the crypt was a 60 FPS experience. 3D worlds, ran around, destroyed things, encountered secret creatures and things of that nature. The only problem with the crypt is that once you unlocked everything, it was pretty much useless after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could close up all the chests that you opened and reopen them again, but by the time you do that, all you would get is junk. You would stop getting, like, costumes or brutalities and things of that nature. It was no good. Obviously, you have your local modes, local tournament, online. AI battle. You could have customized fights with your AIs. So you set your characters to have specific AI characteristics, make them more aggressive, more passive, more zoning, you know what I'm saying? And you put them in teams of 3 to fight other people's teams of 3. Cool mode. Didn't come back at MK1 for some reason. Forgot to mention, we have a store. And this store is very much inferior to what is available in MK1 because you had random gear pieces that would pop up, and as you can see, I got most of it, so it was not much use for me. But the store was not good because you had random gear and you only had up to a day. Actually, that's not true. You got, you know, looks like you have what, 20 hours? That's 20 hours, 53 minutes, and 15 seconds. So actually, I'm not wrong. So you don't have that long to pick the thing that you want but don't know is here. So if you're looking for that favorite Sub-Zero skin and it just happens to pop up, you'd have to be checking this every day to know that it's even here. And you better have the coins to buy it, otherwise you're fucked. Customize. Let's talk about this. So one big edge that MK1 has over its competitor, MK1, or MK11, I should say, has over MK11, is the customization. You might be wondering why my pictures look like this. I had mods installed in the game, and the mods gave me these various looks. So I had the Deadly Alliance Sub-Zero, you know, Iceman Sub-Zero, and then MK Deception Sub-Zero, you know. And the mods came about relatively late into the game's life, but that's okay. So let's go to... Yeah, so the customization in this game was fairly in-depth for a Mortal Kombat game, though not quite as detailed as something like Tekken or even Injustice 2. But you could change your character's mask, you could change your character's weapon, if they had one, and you could change some random artifact on their costume. Additionally, you could change the costumes themselves. And Sub-Zero had a bunch of them, but here's the thing. These first 10 quote-unquote skins, they're the same costume. The only difference is the palettes. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, these first 10 do not count as 10 separate skins. They count as one skin. Just different colors. You know, so here's another skin. And then here's another skin. And then you have this skin. This skin's pretty nice. I'm not mad at that. And you have all these wacky colors and shit like that. You know, look at this. You know, that's a wild color for Sub-Zero. Then you have this skin. You know, and this skin. But I want you to notice a lot of the skins kind of look similar to each other. You know what I'm saying? And so that was one of the main problems in this game. So then you have downloaded skins. So this was the Mortal Kombat 2 skin that was available. You have a Combat League skin. You have this god-awful monstrosity right here. Ugh, terrible. More Combat League shit. More Combat League shit. Then we did get DLC skins for Sub-Zero. And this, I love the skin. Deception, amazing. And here's another Combat League skin, which is yucky. We did get another DLC skin for Sub-Zero. You know, Sub-Zero was eating good skin-wise. And I think this was downloadable as well. But as you can see, it looks very similar to previous skins. You know. And virtually every character had a bunch of skins. Even the DLC characters. You know, they all had lots of skins. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, in this same mode, you had your variations. Let me go to, I'll go to Con this time. So yeah, the main claim to fame for Mortal Kombat 11 were the custom variations, where you could pick the moves that your characters had. This was also where you could change your character's behavior in AI battles, you know. I'll talk more about the variation system in depth when I get to the gameplay section of this. But this was the main selling point of the game, of MK11, custom variations. Alright. One thing I really appreciate about MK11 now is how streamlined the menus are. You know, one problem in MK1 currently is you gotta go, there's a lot of convoluted ass menus, and you gotta do all kinds of crazy things to get to particular portions of the game that you want. For instance, let's say you want to look at your match replay. All I gotta do is hit LT, or, you know, L2, and then I hit R1. I go down and look, here's my match replays. You see, I press 2 buttons, and it's not hard to get to these whatsoever. You know what I mean? You can look at your AI history, offline history, online history. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could see everything. Very, very nice, very easy to get to. This is just treasures. No one cares about those. You had fatality training. You had tutorial. And the tutorial mode was very, very in-depth. And then you had character lessons, which I don't think went far enough. But hey, if you wanted to just get a quick overview of how to play as a character, you could do it, you know? Yeah. So modes, this game had lots of modes. Lots and lots and lots of modes. Lots of things for players to do, both online and offline. Let me go to online real quick. Oh my god, I gotta do a benchmark. Alright, after the benchmark, I'll be back. Yeah, so we're back. So, man, I haven't heard this music in so long. So you had casual versus King of the Hill and AI battles right there. You have competitive mode on and off, which that was added later in the game because by default this was on. And so in a mode like Combat League, you could only pick the pre-existing variations of characters, which were oftentimes not ideal. Later on, NRS added the ability for us to use custom variations in every mode of the game, which should have been the default. People forget that. Obviously, you have private matches. Here's your custom lobby that you could create and go to. And you have your online practice. And then you have your rooms, and you can create a room. You had the full suite of features online, basically. And this game even had crossplay. You could crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox users. Sadly, PC was left out of it. But hey, you know, at least it was partially there. However, this game did not have a Wi-Fi filter. There was no filtration of any kind, as a matter of fact. So, Combat League was a mess online all the time. Because, unlike at MK1, if people had below a certain ping threshold, you couldn't decline them whether they were on Wi-Fi or not. You know what I'm saying? And considering the fact that you often got matched up with people from a different hemisphere, that means that things could be chaotic online. Alright, so let's talk about probably the most important aspect of the game. The gameplay. Damn, I haven't looked at this shit in a long time. It's crazy. Now, one thing that is very important for us to understand about Mortal Kombat 11 is that this game was absolutely excoriated for its gameplay. For those of you that don't know big words, it means that it was relentlessly criticized for its gameplay. Okay? See, this game introduced a lot of new mechanics. Look at that meter down there at the bottom. See, in this game, meter regenerated, and it came back over time. That was a first for Mortal Kombat, and it had the benefit of, you know, making sure that meter build for all characters was even. You see what I'm saying? Because what happened is in Mortal Kombat X, I should say, certain characters like Melina and Katana, they constantly built meter. From throwing projectiles, making people block their projectiles, doing block strings, things like that. And so those characters always had meter, and that means they always had meter for breakers, and they could often break 2 or even 3 combos in the same round or in the same match because of how much meter that they built. Whereas characters like Goro or other characters that didn't pepper people with projectiles or block strings, they didn't build enough meter like that. And so this meter system supplanted all of that by giving us, you know, equally regenerating meter for all characters. Now, this has certain pros. One such pro is that you nearly always had meter for combos. I haven't done that combo in like months. Jesus Christ. So characters nearly always had meter for combos. You know what I'm saying? And that's good. That's very good. And by the time your combo's done, my meter is almost halfway regenerated. And if I wait a little bit, now I can use meter again. But meter wasn't just used offensively. You also had defensive meter as well. Let me see. How do I forgot everything about how this thing went. Oh, get up on. Oh, I'll get to those in a minute. So if you look on the side, oh, my cursor's gone. Okay, never mind. So this game had offensive and defensive meter, and characters had universal wake-ups. So this was the anti-airing wake-up. So if you knock somebody down and try to jump in, they could do that. That was up 2. And then also the game had up 3, which was this, an invincible wake-up. You'll notice that these two wake-ups use 1 bar of defensive and 1 bar of offensive meter. Okay. But then characters had wake-up rolls. These were very, very controversial and remain so even now. So in this game, when you knock somebody down and try to attack them, they could roll away from you. Now, years and years of fighting games tells you that when you knock your opponent down, you can pressure them on wake up. But as you can see, my load goes right through them. Or I should say it the other way around. That attack goes right through my roll. I said it backwards again. I'm so sorry. So their roll goes through my attack and puts them on the other side. So that means that if I'm in the corner, for instance, let me see, how did I make that happen again? Oh, yes. So if I knock somebody down in the corner, whoops, and I go to attack, not only are they out of the corner, but I'm vulnerable now. And so this led to a lot of bananas situations where I could get killed for trying to do something in fighting games that we've learned to do since we were babies. You know what I'm saying? Actually, let me be. Whoops, hold on. So, it's been so long since I recorded anything. Okay. Whoops. How do you get up? You see that? So I could be punished as the offensive player with a full combo for attempting offense on my opponent. So I scored the knockdown. I win neutral. I put the opponent in the corner. I go to take my turn after I successfully knock him down again and they have the chance to reverse their fortunes and win the match on me because I decided to do something that dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of other fighting games tells us is perfectly appropriate. Get a knockdown, attack. Can't do that in this game. Can't do that at all. Now, that doesn't mean that this didn't have any counters. You could throw the opponent. You could throw them. So if you read that they would do that, it's a throw. But you had to time it, though. Because if you were too early, as you just saw, they could still roll and get out. Right? But this leads me to another mechanic with this game that I did enjoy when it was out. I enjoyed this mechanic. But in retrospect, I can see how it was very, very dangerous. So, let me see. Crushing blows. Crushing blows were another system mechanic of this game that could either make or break a character. So I have these two characters on screen here, Sub-Zero and Johnny Cage. You know, Sub-Zero is infamous for his fantastic crushing blows. You know, you saw a couple of them. The uppercut KB was universal. But then he also had the 1-2-4 KB. He had the forward to 4 crushing blow. And then he had this one. Probably the most infamous crushing blow from his slide. Now, slide could hit basically from full screen. Almost. Not quite full screen. And if he did 2 of these, 2 EX slides, the third one was going to guarantee a crushing blow. And it was very strong. It made Sub-Zero nothing less than a top 10 character in this game, especially once he was able to equip all his custom moves together, you know. But the crushing blows made a character so strong. Wow, that was very interesting. Crushing blows could make a character so strong that they allowed lesser players to mount comebacks that they wouldn't get normally. By contrast, here I have Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage barely has any viable crushing blows whatsoever. He does have a crushing blow off of his nut punch move if it's used as a punish, but you have to enhance it. What other crushing blows does he have? Because it's been a long time now. Let me see. Oh, that's the uppercut. I do that. He has... Oh, God. How could I forget? This crushing blow, which nobody's ever going to get hit with. So, excuse me. This string is mid-high. And as you can see, the high has a really lengthy animation. So people are going to see this coming a mile away and they're going to duck you and punish it. So this was a crushing blow that only really worked at the lowest levels of play, because otherwise you have no reason to use this string ever in life. You know, so that was a crushing blow for him. Let me see. Yeah, I mentioned that. So the nut punch was on hit or on punish. I want you to notice that nut punch is 13 frames. If you're gonna do a punish off of a 13 or negative 14 move or more, you're probably not using this. You know. What other crushing blows does he have? He has more. He definitely has more, but they come from abilities that I haven't equipped. So he has a camera crushing blow. Oh yes, let me talk about that. So he has this crushing blow where if you whiff some cameras, how did you, is it 2 of them or is it 3? Damn, what was the, hold on. It's been such a long time. Say cheese. Oh, you have to amplify? Wait a minute. You have to move his, now wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, okay. Oh. What? Oh, I have to enhance it. Okay. Sorry about this. I'm up here wasting lots of time trying to do this crushing blow. And I can't even get it to trigger. Whatever. So, yeah, point of the matter is you have to do this move 3 times in the neutral, which would get you killed. Because you don't have the time to do this in the neutral and mess up. Because by the time you do this, Sub-Zero's going to slide you and be closer to his KB, or other characters are going to kill you. And so, depending on the characters, the crushing blows either came very naturally from things that they would already be doing in the match, or they came unnaturally from obscure moves or obscure things or uses of moves that they would never make use of. You know what I'm saying? So those killed the viability of characters, you know, by themselves. Now, Johnny Cage did have one crushing blow that was very good, and that came from his Fatal Blow cancel. And the Fatal Blow cancel alone stopped him from being a bad character. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Cage was a top tier character until his plus frames got nerfed. Now, let me remind you, this string used to be +6 on block. That was +6. This was +6. And that was +6 on block. All 3 of those attacks were +6 on block in MK11. Now, +6 sounds like a big deal. And normally it would be. But look at how far away Johnny Cage was after he did it. Notice I'm not anywhere close to the opponent. So the only thing Cage could safely follow up with was this. You see? So those of you in MK1 complaining about +3 Johnny Cage, look out. This character used to be +6. And in MK9, he was +6 and even plus more than that, but we ain't gonna get into all that. So I was talking about crushing blows. So the issue with the crushing blow system was not only that, you know, for specific characters, many of them didn't make sense, but some characters got them from things that they did not earn. They got them from circumstances that every character would be caught in. So let me see here. Let me use Liu Kang and Jade as an example. Any of you that remember fighting Jade in MK11, you know exactly where I'm going with this. Exactly. So, Liu Kang had really easy crushing blows. So, much like Sub-Zero, when Liu Kang enhanced his bicycle kick twice, was it twice or was it 3 times? I can't remember now. Oh, it was 3 times. So once he enhanced his bicycle kick 3 times, the next one did a crushing blow. It just did. But Johnny, Liu Kang was always going to enhance that move. Always. Always, always, always. Excuse me. Liu Kang also had a crushing blow from one of these at at max range as a punish. So if the opponent did anything out here in the neutral, and I just happened to be throwing a flying kick, I get a crushing blow because they just moved. Let me see if I can replicate that now. Whoops, no. Oh, I wanted to do record. Okay. There we go. Okay. Hold on. Damn it. How do you do that? I forget. There we go. So full screen. Basically full screen. The opponent... Wow, that was interesting. The opponent does anything, you just throw it out, and you get a crushing blow. You didn't earn this. You didn't know what they were going to do. You just threw this out. And instead of this move doing 8% damage, it does 25. Oh, wow. Anything. You see what I'm saying? So you had unrequited crushing blows that would just happen. Just cause. Just cause. You know what I'm saying? Now, where else am I going with this? Jade. Oh my God. So look at Jade's uppercut. Look how far that uppercut hit from. Her uppercut basically hit from here. So if you, as a player, were doing any kind of high attack, whether that's a throw, a high jab, anything like that, and you're this close or closer, she's going to blow you up with a super long range uppercut. Right? So that's annoying in and of itself. Ooh, the backstepping. Her backstepping's really good. All right, but anyway. What's her damn special move? What is that shit? Ah, that one. So, Jade's shadow kick. So, Jade had this unreactable shadow kick. And it does 6% on hit. Yes, it's a high. Yes, you could blow it up, but you had to read it because you weren't reacting to this. Right? As soon as she does this, half of her crushing blow requirements are loaded. Because the next one, if she follows up with another one right after, she does an extra 23% for a grand total of 29% damage. So she did one move 2 times and got 29% damage. Now, I don't know about you, but in my eyes, that carries lower level players. Because instead of them having to take the risk in neutral, instead of having to win the neutral and do strings and do specials in order to get 29% damage combos, they could just do a special move. Play around. Maybe you whiff something and they just do it again. And they just got combo damage for that. You see what I'm saying? They don't even have to know what you're going to do to them. They can throw this out, and if you just so happen to be doing a high attack, this is 300 damage by itself. You see what I'm saying? So this game allowed characters to get a lot for a little bit. Players to get a lot for a little bit. And they really needed to, because this game de-emphasized combos heavily. Most characters only had a single combo route or a few predetermined combo routes. And this leads me to one of the biggest gameplay gripes, probably the biggest gameplay gripe aside. Ooh, I didn't even talk about those. Jesus Christ. Whew. Strap in, people. This is going to be a ride. So, Mileena. Mileena was probably the most sought after character in Mortal Kombat history, in the history of all Mortal Kombats. And so when she arrived in this game, we were all real happy, only to find out that her combo routes were very limited. So, of course, Mileena had Ball Roll, which is an MK2 classic. She had Side Kick, or Telekick, I should say, and Side Toss. Classic moves. But here's the problem. Ball Roll doesn't allow for anything in this game. You have to enhance Ball Roll in order to get a combo from it. And yes, she had two different versions of Ball Roll. So if you didn't equip Rolling Thunder, she just had that one, which hit elevated and all that. So you had to enhance it in order to get a combo. Now the problem with that is the opponent could always drop out at any point, and they could wait for Mileena to enhance it and then decide to drop out, and then she gets nothing. This is the only way that Mileena could combo launch in this game. No other strings that she has will allow her to get a combo. So she had just one combo route. And if she couldn't use it against an opponent, she was fucked. Right? Sonya had the same problem. Now, Sonya didn't need meter to get a combo. Her combo came from this string. Back 1, 2, 3. Now, back 1's a high. So you could already duck and mash on Sonya, which is fine because Sonya really needed to be using this defensively rather than offensively, right? But this string is unsafe as hell. So if you guessed correctly and blocked her while she did it, she was getting blown up as it was. So this string's already a risk for her to use. But moreover, I forgot what she used to do. Oh yeah, it was this. Yeah, something like that. There we go. Yeah. So, if Sonya does this, the opponent could drop out of that too. And this leads me to one of the biggest problems with this game, which was the breakaway system. How do I want to illustrate this? Maybe I should use... I'll use Mileena first. Okay. Whoops. Hold on. Sorry. Look at that. So if you dropped out of Mileena's stuff, she gets nothing. Now, if you dropped out of it early, you just look dumb, because she could just do it and not get anything. But you can wait and then let her drop out. You see? So you wait for the other one and then drop out of whatever she does next. See? So that's a huge issue for Mileena. So that means that you almost never had to take a Mileena combo. Now, let me show the other problem with this system too. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me try that again. I almost hit it. Okay. What? What the hell? That was interesting. That was very interesting. Let's try that again. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Oh, come on. Why did it do that? So, you saw me record the combo correctly. Okay. Let's see if it plays back. Oh, okay. Okay, so it played back right. Okay. Huh? That was interesting. Oh, maybe I have to wait until I hit. Look at that. Did y'all see that? So you could punish Melina for doing her own combo. That's a punish. You could punish characters for comboing you in this game. So Melina won the neutral. Melina won the neutral and hit me. I'm the Melina. I won the neutral. I hit Sonya for roughly 30%. But because she had meter, she can drop out and hit me with a bigger combo for 35%. So I just took 35 to get 30. You could say what you want about Mortal Kombat 1, but this is unacceptable. This system was unacceptable, okay? Under no circumstances in virtually any other fighting game did characters actively get punished for hitting their opponents with combos. But in this game, you did get punished. And it doesn't matter on what side of the fence you sat on, this was indefensible. Completely indefensible. Melina wasn't a top tier character. Sonya wasn't a top tier character. But if I, as a Melina player, were fighting someone like a Fujin or a Liu Kang or a Jackie Briggs, and I did this combo and they dropped out on me the way that Sonya did, I'm dead. So I'm already at a disadvantage because this character only has one variation, which was a problem with the variation system in this game because people just picked the best versions of the characters and there was only one way to play them optimally. We ain't gonna go into all that. But I was only stuck playing one way as it was, and I'm already at a disadvantage because my name is Melina. But then, when I actually do hit the opponent, I could die. I could die for hitting the opponent as opposed to not hitting them. That's bananas. Indefensible. Okay? Let me show you something else that's indefensible. I'll be right back. Yeah, so another thing that was problematic, probably the biggest problem in this game, were these. Fatal blows. So, unlike in previous Mortal Kombat's MKX and MK9 that use X-ray systems that, you know, required 3 bars to use, Mortal Kombat 11 had a health-based fatal blow system in which once your opponent got to be at 30% health, let me go up to that real quick. So once they're at 30% health, they have access to this super move. Okay? Now, super moves are not new in fighting games. They're not new in Mortal Kombat. They're not new in general. You know. Mortal Kombat 9 introduced us to the X-Ray, which was Mortal Kombat's first super move. And the thing about X-Rays is that they were relatively rare because they required all 3 bars of a segmented meter. And so you didn't see them all the time because certain characters got far more reward with 1 bar than you ever got from an X-Ray. So X-Rays were a mechanic that were almost useless. Almost. Certain characters got a lot of mileage from their X-Rays, but most didn't, right? That changed with MK11 because every game that you played online against a Cetrion, you had to deal with the fact that she was going to do this to you. And notice where she can do it from. She can do it from full screen. Okay? Now let's go to Jax. So here's Jax. So within 1 forward dash from full screen, I can hit the opponent with that. And let's look at the frame data on the Fatal Blow. Where's the Fatal Blow at anyway? Is it here? I thought it was at the bottom. Let's throw blood. Inputs, jumping attacks. Oh, maybe it's under specials. Oh, yeah. Look how fast this move is. It's 11 frames of startup. The Fatal Blow is. That's an 11 frame attack that allows you to get in from full screen. So you can just use it to get in if you needed to. And then I want you to notice, it came back. That was probably the most egregious thing about the Fatal Blow. See, in MK9 and MKX, if you used your X-Ray, whether it was blocked or it hit, it went away. And you had to build all 3 bars back in order to use it again. Not in this game. If you whiffed the Fatal Blow because you were out of range or they ducked or whatever, you could fight. You could fight the match. And then now suddenly, when you're in this range, an 11 frame move that you can't react to will take you right out of victory. You know what I'm saying? And anyone that ever fought Jax knows that they had to worry about this. Because at any point, you can get hit. So if you whiff something, if you go to grab, if you're just moving, bomb, you get hit. So what I need us to understand about MK11 is that all this retroactive rose-colored perspective that we see now, it does not echo the way the game was received when it came out. People could not stand the Fatal Blows for the reasons that I mentioned. They could not stand the breakaway system for the reasons that I showed. The vast majority of the new mechanics in this game were as controversial, if not more controversial, than MK1 and the cameo system that exists today. Okay? People did not want them. I did not want them. Not all of them. I was cool with the recharging meter, but everything else, I was not in favor of that. I didn't even talk about the flawless block reversals and how you could, excuse me, you could stop somebody from using their plus frames on you because you could just flawless block reverse them. You know. But the point of the matter is this game was not received well in its day. It was not received well at all. The game was, it was lambasted. It was lambasted for what it offered players. And you don't need to take my word for it. I will prove it to you right now. Yeah. So this is a video from the competitor who's been a Johnny Cage player for a long time. Did his thing in MK11. You know what I'm saying? He made this video on August 24th of 2020. Probably a year after the game was released. Let's just look at the comments. Let me see. NRS's refusal to change game's meta and implement proper ranked are the main reasons that people are dropping out and losing interest. Combat League. Hold on a second. Look, people were already complaining that the game was dead. Okay. So, a year into MK11's life, there was talk about it being dead. Okay. Now, let's go to another video. This particular video is from Diff. This was from 10 months ago. Okay. And he's talking about MK11. I really recommend that people watch this video because it's a really good chronicalization of MK11. But look at the comments. Look at the comments. No one talks about Shiva Stomp. I didn't even mention how NRS barely patched the game during that game's life. And when they did patch, they just overwhelmingly nerfed things. You know what I'm saying? There's such a disconnect between NRS and their supporters that can't be said about other companies. Microtransactions, bad story. Shiva killed a lot of hype for the game. You know what I'm saying? Gameplay was limited and sluggish. Okay. So this game that people want to sit here and love on so much and pretend like it was the greatest thing since sliced bread to Mortal Kombat compared to MK1, y'all really need to go back and look and analyze the game truly for how it was perceived then and what it has to offer players today. Okay? See, Mortal Kombat 1 is deeply imperfect. It has way less content than MK11 did. The content that it does have is not quite at the same level of MK11's. And that includes the customization and all that good stuff. But the gameplay of MK11 was one of the biggest reasons that people despised MK11 in its heyday. And what's crazy is people had the perception that this game's gameplay was slow, or MK11's gameplay was slow. MK1, the normals and all that were slower than this game. But MK1 doesn't feel slow. Cameo speed things up, the movement speeds things up. Everything feels exaggerated and faster because of what all you can do in that game. And in MK1, I haven't found a single player that understands fighting games that says that they don't like MK1's gameplay. They don't find it fun. Everyone finds it fun, virtually. Amongst the people that understand neutral footsies and all that good stuff, the people that have good fighting game fundamentals, overwhelmingly, they prefer MK1 to this game right here. You know what I'm saying? Now, does this mean that you're not allowed to prefer MK11 as a game? Of course not. Have your preference. Like what you like. But make sure that you're being objective about it. Make sure you're being intellectually honest about it. Make sure you understand that your preference may or may not align with reality, because you might have preferences that are based on, you know, your subjective likes versus dislikes, rather than the objective truths about a game. It is objectively true, for instance, that the vast majority, well, a huge chunk of breakaways that occurred in MK11 were done accidentally from people that were trying to low block, and they low blocked too slow. You got launched by a move, you tried to low block after the fact, and then you got a breakaway for that reason. So now you had no defensive meter to wake up, roll, or do anything with, because you wasted it. That's an objective truth. Happened to me a million times. It's objectively true that fatal blows were unreactable armor moves in a game that didn't have any armor moves, and they dominated at least half of the screen for most of the cast. And many characters had fatal blows that went full screen. You know, and so many people won matches or lost matches because someone got hit with a last minute fatal blow. You know? And at one point they were very difficult to punish. So someone could just throw one out and you couldn't even punish it because the block stun was too high. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what does this mean? Does this mean that if you like MK11, you're wrong? No, of course not. I liked MK11. I still like MK11. It's not nearly as bad of a game that people pretended that it was back in the day. But it ain't as good of a game as people pretend that it is now either. It had a lot of problems, and those problems still persist. And those problems weren't with content that could be added, or, you know, modes like the cameos that could be tweaked and still have the chance to be tweaked at this point. This game had fundamental issues with basic gameplay mechanics. The game's fundamental mechanics were flawed. And that's why the vast majority of them never made their way back to MK1. You need to understand that Mortal Kombat 1 exists the way that it is because it was the antithesis of MK11. People complained about not being able to do combos in MK11. MK1 is a combo fest. People complained about regenerating meter in MK11. MK1, you build bar back. People complained about the breakaway system. MK1, we have the regular breakers back again. And they're 3 bars so that you can't break out of combos multiple times in each round. You know what I'm saying? MK11, you had crushing blows that heavily favored one character over another. Crushing blows are gone. Flawless block reversals, stopping people from using their plus frames that they earned. There are no reversals at all after flawless block. You just do flawless block and that's it. MK1 is the antithesis of Mortal Kombat 11. Just like Mortal Kombat 11 was the antithesis of Mortal Kombat X. You need to know that. You need to know that. Okay? And that truth has to be put out there. And I'm preaching this because I'm trying to get past all the chatter. The chatter that says that MK11 was some fantastic game that didn't have no flaws. And MK1 is a trash game that is quote unquote brain dead. Neither one of these games is brain dead. But if we were going to call either of these games brain dead, it'd probably be MK11. You're not going to tell me that Jade as a character didn't have stupid ass mechanics that benefited her. Stupid crushing blows that she didn't earn. And it's not just Jade. Sub-Zero 2, my main character, had crushing blows that he would just get that he didn't earn. Geras was like this as well. Liu Kang was like this as well. Okay? Kotal Khan was kind of like that too. Kotal Khan had a half-screen mid that was safe and led to a combo. Yes, you could flawless block the damn thing, but online, shit. Okay? So don't tell me that MK11 is somehow amazing and MK1 is like trash. Alright? Don't tell me that MK1's gameplay is irredeemable and is an example of actual garbage. Meanwhile, MK11 is some sort of bastion of perfectness. Hold on a second, y'all. Yeah. MK11 was a much better game than people pretended that it was. But it wasn't perfect. And it's not nearly the game that people are trying to reinvent that it was. In the same manner, MK1 is not the terrible game that a bunch of people online are pretending that it is. It got issues. It has content that needs to be added. Yes. But the gameplay is very fun. The cameos give characters depth and variety, and they make them, every single character, tournament viable. You could pick any character, and if you put them with the right cameo, you can win against damn near everybody. Online. You can. But you got to know how to play fighting games first. And what MK1 has really done is exposed just how many novices there are within the MK community. Those novices were, you know, they relied on these crushing blows and fatal blows to carry them to victory in this game, MK11. But now that those training wheels are off, you got to play fighting games now, baby. Yeah, you got to worry about stepping outside of neutral. You got to worry about not doing the wrong thing or catching a 40% damage combo that you can't break. You see what I'm saying? That's fighting games. Welcome to fighting games. My hope for all of you that are watching is that you carry this message forward. When you see people talk shit about MK1 inaccurately, or you see people lavishing undue praise upon MK11 inaccurately, you correct the record. You can direct them to this video if you wish, or you can just chime in and be like, let's stop the bullshitting. MK11 was good, but definitely not great. It had lots of problems and still does. MK1 has the potential to be great, but it got off at the very wrong foot, or with the very wrong foot. And it might have alienated a lot of its casual fans, but it's a fun game nonetheless that has a balanced character roster where every character is tournament viable and can win matches. Okay? And it rewards the better player. That's probably the most important aspect about MK1 that people pretend is not here. Maybe they'll start singing its praises when MK2 comes along. But with that being said, I've talked at y'all long enough. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out this motherfucker one.